Hello, everybody, and welcome to Echoes of History, where the past doesn't whisper, it confesses. Let me ask you something unsettling. What if I told you that over 4,000 years ago, doctors were performing surgeries that many medieval doctors were too afraid to attempt? What if I told you that ancient Egyptians knew how to examine the brain, measure the pulse, diagnose internal disease, treat fractures, seal wounds, and preserve organs with a precision that still confuses modern science? And what if I told you something worse? They knew the human body better than they ever admitted. Tonight, we are not talking about myths. We are not talking about magic spells or superstition. We are talking about medical technology, real tools, real procedures, real human bodies, because the greatest secret of ancient Egypt was not how they built pyramids. It was how deeply they understood life and death. Ancient Egypt did not fear the human body. They opened it, studied it, touched it. Thousands of years before modern anatomy textbooks, Egyptian physicians were already mapping the body. They believed the body was a system, a network of channels they called metu. These channels carried blood, air, water, life force. And if a channel was blocked, disease followed. Sound familiar? Because that idea is frighteningly close to modern circulatory theory. Now listen carefully. The Edwin Smith papyrus, the oldest known surgical textbook in human history, does something shocking. It does not mention gods. It does not blame spirits. It does not pray. It observes. It diagnoses. It gives step-by-step medical instructions. It explains head trauma, skull fractures, spinal injuries, paralysis, nerve damage. One section calmly states, "This injury is one that I will treat." Another says, "This injury is one I will fight." And then comes the most terrifying line. "This injury is one that cannot be treated." That is not superstition. That is clinical judgment. Egyptian doctors examined patients using visual inspection, touch, smell, pulse reading. Yes, pulse reading. They understood the heart was central to life itself. They measured the heartbeat by feeling arteries across the body. They did this 2,000 years before Hippocrates. Now imagine this. A patient with a skull fracture lies on a stone table. The doctor presses gently on the wound, observes fluid leaking from the nose or ears. He knows what that means. Brain injury. Even today, cerebrospinal fluid leakage is a serious medical sign, and Egypt knew it. No electricity or no microscopes, no scans, just knowledge. And that knowledge came from something disturbing. They opened the human body again and again and again. Let's talk about tools, because Egyptian medicine was not guesswork. It was hardware. Archaeologists have found bronze scalpels, surgical needles, forceps, bone saws, probes, tweezers. These were not symbolic objects. They were used. Egyptian surgeons performed wound stitching, abscess drainage, tumor removal, bone realignment, amputations. And here is the horrifying truth. Many patients survived. We know this because skeletons show healed fractures and recovered surgical cuts. That means infection was controlled. Pain was managed, recovery was expected. How did they control infection? This is where it becomes uncomfortable. Egypt used honey, a natural antibacterial, moldy bread, producing antibiotic-like effects, copper compounds, alcoholic solutions. Modern science later confirmed that honey kills bacteria. Egypt already knew. They also understood trauma medicine. For fractures, they aligned bones, applied splints, wrapped with linen, soaked in resin. Some splints were so effective that the bone healed perfectly straight. This was not luck. This was medical engineering. Now let's talk about pain. Egyptian medicine used opium, mandrake, cannabis extracts. These acted as sedatives, pain relievers, muscle relaxants. Again, this is pharmacology. And now we reach the darkest part, mummification. Most people think mummification was religious. It was also medical research, because during mummification, Egyptian embalmers removed the brain, extracted organs, examined tissues, preserved structures. They saw lungs, liver, heart, intestines. They knew where everything belonged. The heart was preserved. The brain was discarded. Why? Because they believed consciousness lived in the heart. Wrong by modern standards, but the anatomical observation was real. Egyptian medical texts described diabetes-like symptoms, cancer-like growths, parasites, dental surgery, eye operations. They treated cataracts. They drilled teeth. They filled cavities with resin. Some prosthetic toes found on mummies were functional, not decorative, meaning people walked with them, ancient prosthetics. This was not a primitive society. This was a medical civilization. And then something strange happened. Suddenly, Egyptian medical advancement slows, not gradually, abruptly. Some techniques vanish from history, not improved, not replaced, gone. Why? Because medical knowledge in Egypt was restricted. Doctors were priests. Knowledge was sacred. Access was controlled. Medical texts were locked in temples, passed orally, destroyed when dynasties fell. They believed too much knowledge could destabilize society. Healing gave power. Power needed limits. And here is the most chilling realization. Modern medicine did not invent many ideas. It rediscovered them. Pulse diagnosis, antiseptics, surgery, prosthetics, trauma classification. Egypt was there first. Then they stepped back. They chose silence. Today, MRI machines scan the body. Robots perform surgery. Medicine extends life. But when you peel back the layers, the foundation is ancient, very ancient, built by hands that never held electricity, only understanding. So the greatest technology Egypt created was not pyramids. It was not gold. It was not mummification. It was the realization that the human body is a machine worth studying, not fearing. And then they walked away, leaving us fragments, leaving us questions, leaving us echoes. Thank you for joining Echoes of History. If this story reached you, if it disturbed you, if it made you question how modern we truly are, subscribe, because some technologies are not lost. They are buried inside the human story itself.